waitress in a cocktail bar.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 best opening song lyrics.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
For this list, we're looking at the most memorable lines that effectively set the mood for a compelling track. Did we forget a great set of opening lyrics? Let us know in the comments below. Number 20, Gangsta's Paradise, Coolio featuring LV. Coolio's signature track gets going with a memorable paraphrase of the Book of Psalms.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left.
Building off of a Bible verse and then spinning off in its own direction, the opening lines immediately set the tone for a hip-hop song that delves into existential themes. He's able to walk the line between an epic poem and a gritty look at life in the modern era.
'Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone.
Even after all these years and a Weird Al parody, his lyrical skills in this composition are without question. There's a reason this is considered one of the standout rap hits of the 90s. Number 19, Bullet with Butterfly Wings, The Smashing Pumpkins. In a career of entertaining rock songs, the Smashing Pumpkins outdid themselves with the release of Bullet with Butterfly Wings from their album Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
The world is a vampire sent to drain.
Billy Corgan opens up the anthem with an unforgettable nod to blood-sucking creatures, in a comparison that immediately locks listeners in to a unique alternative production. The addition of Jimmy Chamberlin's drums drives home the tense introduction.
Secret destroyers hold you up to the flames.
Corgan helps to ratchet up the intensity with every phrase, which all builds to a cathartic chorus. Regardless of its greater meaning, this track never relents from its first moments. Number 18, Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses. As much as they were considered the bad boys of rock, Guns N' Roses still had a knack for heartfelt and poetic lyrics. The start to Sweet Child of Mine contains one of their most evocative opening phrases. Axl Rose provides intimate details about the woman he's fallen for in a delicately written beginning. This doesn't mean the track can't also find other ways to rock out or to feature an instantly recognizable guitar riff, revealing the band's ability to tug at the heartstrings. This electrifying single is a reminder of the power of the group's lively music. Number 17, Wonderwall, Oasis. Oasis was among the guiding lights of the Britpop movement, with the single Wonderwall being among their greatest achievements.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you.
Noel Gallagher's words establish a love song full of complexities and notable verses. Beginning with a soulful opening courtesy of his brother Liam, the writer fills the production with a number of deceptively complex phrases about relationships.
I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now.
This combination of clever songwriting and a simple musical accompaniment combine to make this a classic. It's since taken on a life of its own as one of the most famous British rock staples of its day, partly due to the unprecedented talent of the two musical brothers.
You're my wonderwall.
Number 16, Where the Streets Have No Name, U2. With Bono at their helm, U2 is known for dozens of inspirational and spiritual tracks. Where the Streets Have No Name is one of the best examples of their format, leading off the iconic album The Joshua Tree. This particular song begins with a series of hopeful proclamations from the lead singer. Carried by the intricate soundscape of his fellow musicians, the vocalist reintroduces the group with a series of mission statements that have carried them through many successful decades. The exciting single encapsulates all of the intensity of the act's finest work, with some of their greatest lyrics. Number 15, Straight Outta Compton, NWA. With the furious introduction of Ice Cube, NWA established themselves as the premier rap talents of the late 1980s.
Straight outta Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
There was no turning back for the genre after an opening verse that tore the roof off of convention. Never one to hold back, the rapper's lyrics and lightning delivery changed the game with their explicit nature.
When I'm called off, I got a sawed off. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off.
This track and the accompanying album quickly altered the fabric of the music industry with their grounded look at life in Compton, California. A few carefully chosen phrases later, and the band members were hip-hop icons with a massively influential record. Number 14, Don't Stop Believin', Journey. Steve Perry starts off this Journey classic like a fairy tale. In just a few lines, he sums up the intricate story of strangers looking for meaning in their lives.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
Don't Stop Believin' has maintained its popularity because of Perry's passionate vocals and the accompanying lyrics. Among the singer's best performances, he serenades listeners with a group of disparate souls hoping for connection.
Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit.
The inspirational narrative feels universal and emotionally resonant to this day, long after the arena rock era in the 80s. Serving as the group's magnum opus, the ultimate impact of the song lands especially well with the help of Jonathan Cain on keyboards.
Don't stop believing.
Number 13, Basket Case, Green Day. Off of Green Day's breakthrough album Dookie, Basket Case represents all of the frenetic energy that accompanies their best singles.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once?
It also begins with a career best introduction from singer Billie Joe Armstrong. Aggressive only begins to describe the vocalist's signature style behind the microphone, which comes through perfectly in this performance.
I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it.
It also stands as a pop-punk staple that has few equals. The lyrics describe an internal struggle with a tongue-in-cheek tone that provides the overall production with a razor-sharp edge. They spent the next decade building off of this one-of-a-kind mix of wit and anger. Number 12, Billie Jean, Michael Jackson. Billie Jean represents a high point for Michael Jackson as both an artist and a storyteller.
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene.
The singer introduces a twisted tale about a woman claiming the narrator is the father of her child. Scandalous and provocative, the hit single also features some of the greatest word choices in any Jackson song. His storytelling not only feels grounded, it also flows with a fluid pace that draws in the listener with every subsequent detail. Along with high-quality pop production, the vocalist ascended to new musical heights with this piece. This track later became one of the artist's best-selling and acclaimed works because of its ability to enthrall audiences. Number 11, Landslide, Fleetwood Mac. This moving ballad by Fleetwood Mac tops an impressive list of classics from the band.
I took my love and I took it down.
Written by band member Stevie Nicks, the pristine track excels as a melancholic exploration of life and its many changes. Nicks doesn't waste any time in setting up an emotional narrative that speaks volumes across generations.
And I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills.
The vocalist only needs a simple guitar part underneath, which keeps the focus on her performance and stellar writing abilities. There's a reason that the artist is often hailed as one of the best songwriters of her generation, with this being the exclamation point on an exceptional career.
The landslide bring it down.
Number 10, Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen. While it's become one of the most covered compositions of its kind, Hallelujah ultimately belongs to its author Leonard Cohen.
Heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord.
The singer and songwriter was well into his career when he crafted this masterpiece. Starting with a biblical reference, this track has all of the trademark qualities of an exceptionally talented and influential artist.
But you don't really care for music, do you?
Its soulful beginnings underscore the writer's knack for finding just the right word and still surprising his audience at the same time. Going far beyond the realm of its seemingly religious connections, the song wows listeners to this day for its lyrical beauty. Number 9, What's Going On? Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye's masterpiece comes together with both musical excellence and lyrical brilliance.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you to cry.
In an emotional plea for peace and understanding, What's Going On delves deeply into the inequities of the early 70s. It also contains one of his more delicate vocal performances.
Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying.
The words addressed to mothers and brothers speak volumes to a world that still reels from war, inequality, and injustice. His timeless message of hope and love is the main topic for the album of the same name, which further explores the themes stated in this tour de force. Gaye might not be around anymore, but his undying spirit lives on through this engaging work.
Yes, I want to know what's going on right now, people.
Number 8, Lithium, Nirvana. Kurt Cobain provides a melancholic introduction to one of his best lyrical efforts.
I'm so happy, 'cause today found my friends in my head.
In only the first verse, the singer sets up a narrative about a lonely character who turns to religion for some relief. Cobain's inflections make every syllable feel that much more impactful in this single from Nevermind.
Light my candles in our days, 'cause I found God.
Known for tackling serious subjects, the songwriter explores the darkest depths of the human psyche. The band also finds room to rock out in this track, but only after setting up a mournful tune. Lithium stands as yet another reminder that the music of Nirvana has a timeless sound. Number 7, American Pie, Don McLean. As one of the great epic songs in American history, American Pie begins like any legendary story should.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember.
Don McLean skillfully sets the stage with a track that's as densely packed as a novel. He might be taking us back to one of the darkest days in music history, but one that inspired this moving piece of art.
Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step.
Sometimes overlooked, this work is still as powerful all these years later. Its eclectic mix of references and colorful imagery enhance the experience into something much more than a bland history lesson. McLean is best remembered for this particular effort, which deserves further recognition for its slow building and effective beginning. Number 6, Hello, I Love You, The Doors. While the track might be undervalued by some people, Hello, I Love You still shows off all the band's charisma.
Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name?
Singer Jim Morrison manages to crank up the charm in a vocal performance that starts especially strong. In a quick turn of phrase, the vocalist boils down a chance encounter into an introduction for the ages.
Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game.
Morrison's words came as no surprise to fans of the group, many of whom grew accustomed to his mix of poetic and literary ideas. The groovy rock sound also added to the group's legend in the late 1960s. There are several songs from their catalog that are worthy of inclusion, such as the haunting work The End, but this one edges out the competition. Number 5, Hurt, Johnny Cash. Originally written by Trent Reznor for his group 9 Inch Nails, the song Hurt received a new spin after it was covered by country legend Johnny Cash.
I hurt myself today.
The second version brings out all of the best qualities of Reznor's writing, but with the added benefit of another singer's personal history. This is especially true with the first haunting line. Getting to the heart of pain and regret, the somber lyrics don't hold back in describing a narrator that reflects on their existence.
I focus on the pain.
While the songwriter wrote the piece about himself, the composition fits perfectly against the backdrop of Cash's career.
I will make you hurt.
Number 4, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd made a name for themselves as innovators of progressive rock, but it was arguably this song that transcended genre and musical taste.
We don't need no education.
Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 is an iconic piece from their album The Wall, whereby the band takes aim at education. The first lyrics are as widely quoted as any rock anthem from the decade.
We don't need no thought control.
Becoming a part of a much larger metaphor, the popular introduction represents a track that's as vital as it was in the late 1970s. Songwriter Roger Waters offers up his own revolutionary message that fights back against abusive schooling practices. Number 3, The Sound of Silence, Simon and Garfunkel. The duo of Simon and Garfunkel created more than a handful of folk standards in the 1960s. The Sound of Silence may or may not be the group's greatest achievement, but it certainly has their most noteworthy opening.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Paul Simon's lyrics never fail to deliver a moody atmosphere. While some might recognize the song as the soundtrack of memes, it's easy to forget that the tune boasts one of the finer explorations of the soul.
Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping.
Listeners might debate its greater meaning, but it's ultimately an emotional experience from the first few seconds. Harmonizing with Art Garfunkel, the songwriter created one of the act's first triumphs in terms of both composition and performance.
In the sounds of silence.
Number 2, Yesterday, The Beatles. Paul McCartney famously tinkered with this composition under a completely different title.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away.
Thankfully for all of us, he found a new group of words and gave the world Yesterday. The well-known track from the Help album features one of the better sets of lyrics in any Beatles song.
Now it looks as though they're here to stay.
McCartney accurately sums up the nuanced feelings of regret, love, and everything in between. It's yet another obvious example of the songwriter's endless talent with melody. Along with an acoustic guitar and a beautiful string arrangement, the singer introduces a brilliant thesis on the topic of relationships.
Oh, I believe in yesterday.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen. With their pristine harmonies, Queen recorded Bohemian Rhapsody with a self-assured performance.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
The dynamic track is full of musical prowess from start to finish. Coming together for an inspired start, the band members' voices mesh well against the angelic lead of Freddie Mercury. All of this sets up the latter's sweeping work with a piano, building itself through a series of imaginative phrases.
Mama just killed a man.
It's hard not to stop everything and sing along with this impressive opening. Starting a rock and roll suite like no other, there are few opening lyrics that can compete with these ones crafted by Mercury.
Just gotta get out. Just gotta get right out of here.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.